Welcome, people. This is Q from Q'd Up Productions. Back at it again, and today we are talking about Abbey Roads plugins by Waves. First up, we're going to talk about the Abbey Roads Chambers. It is a reverb plugin. And with this reverb plugin, there's one thing that I have to discuss with all of the Abbey Road plugins that come with Waves. Although they're all great, they sound great, they have so many parameters and things that you can change, they have great preset packages to them. The only thing that I have to stress about using Waves plugins, especially the Abbey Roads one, all the other ones are usually pretty good, but the Abbey Roads plugins, because they're supposed to be analog and analog type of signaling to them and routing and things like that, as soon as you turn it on, if you look down here at your performance monitor, they give you a little bit of something extra. They give you background noise, they give you hiss, they give you that analog type of noise to them, to a noise floor. So they add a little something to the bottom of it. Now these plugins are great on anything that you're trying to do, especially if you're going for older school type of hip hop. If you're trying to do anything trap or something like that where you don't necessarily want all of that, you have to go in and find what parameter is going to get rid of that hiss for you. Sometimes it's the gain, sometimes it's not. It's just different. It just depends. Some of them, they have a drive type of knob or something like that that you can maybe alter and pull some of that back a little bit. You know, it just depends. Now with Abbey Roads Chambers, you have some different types of reverb types that you can throw in. Honestly, it really didn't matter what type I chose. I still seem to have the same performance, type of, I don't want to say issues. That's a bad way to say it. Just, it's a little bit taxing on your CPU. So you have to be careful with that. Now, I don't have a supercomputer. I just have a MacBook Pro, not a whole lot of RAM. So of course, I'm sure that probably plays a part in it. If you have a supercomputer, shouldn't have any problems. Okay, so Abbey Roads Abbey Roads Chambers. Love that one. All right, so the next one that we have, and I got to turn these off as I go because I'm gonna save that one for last. Because if I try to turn all these on, then it just bogs down everything so much. But I'm not trying to play anything, so it shouldn't be too bad. All right, so another one that I have up here is the Real ADT. This is a it's kind of a plugin. It does a few things for you. It can help you spread your vocals out a little bit if you want to use it for that. It can you can put it on guitar and get some different types of wavy guitars and things like that. Slight flanging, a couple things. Basically, it's going to spread out whatever signal that you have. Now, those are just what the presets are. You can always go in, of course, and tweak them to whatever you want. You can start it at the default and just play with the knobs and see what you come up with. Save them as presets and keep on going. One thing that I always stress that I think a lot of people forget, especially new and upcoming producers, if you are going in and you do any type of tweaks on a sound, meaning that if you, let's say you have a drum bus, and you have your drums running through this bus, and you have, we'll say, 3 or 4 plugins on it, that you finally got these things tweaked the way you like, then save that as a preset or as a channel strip. I think a lot of times we forget to do that. Those things, that little simple practice can go a long way in production when you have to use it again. So it's real easy here on Studio One, which, I really like Studio One. All I have to do is come down here and go Store Effects Chain, name it, and then then it's good to go. I can use it for that. So if you look at some of the ones that I have, depending on what the effect is, I'll just put a description of whatever that effect is, and go at that. Trap reverb, that probably has a reverb as well as a compressor and an EQ on it. Vocal change, vocal sauce, just different things like that. So that's gonna go a long way in speeding things up the next time you want to do something like that. So all right, so that was Real ADT. Okay, Abbey Roads Vinyl. this is a great plugin if you wanted to simulate tape where it has the depth, the wow, the flutter. You can add noise, take away noise, crackle, clicks, pops, things like that. One thing that I love about this plugin is that you can change some different sound textures, the types of turntables that you're going to use, or these different types of cartridges. I'm kind of an old head myself, but I don't know what these things are or how they chose which one to use. Just go with what sounds good. Don't overthink it. Come up with some type of combination you like, and then of course go in and save it as a preset, so that if you ever want to come back to that type of sound, then you already have it, or you have a starting spot to it. Once again, if you look down here at the performance, and again, this is just my computer. When I turn this on, I get a little bit of a noise floor to it, so you can see it there as well. So just a matter of how you use it. I apologize for that. Somebody's driving by booming, man. It's crazy. But that's Abbey Road's vinyl. So you can definitely have, I've used this for making samples. If I want the sample to have an old school type of feel to it, and then I want to go back and chop that sample and use it as a, old school 90s type of hip hop feel, then I'll definitely use this as one of the final plugins to get that type of feel to it. All right. Turn that one off, and this one is this is a strange but great plugin by by Waves, and again, this is in one of the Abbey Road's vinyls. That's correction. Damn, can't even talk. Abbey Road's plugins. So this one, it doesn't have a lot of presets, but I think it was mainly used for specific things like individual instruments. And I've used these in the past, and of course, even though they say it's for guitars, drums, that one's for other things, and then pianos and keys, you can use whatever plugin you want. Don't feel like you're bound by what it says it has to be used for. If you're going for a certain type of sound, just find the sound. It doesn't matter what the plugin says. It doesn't matter what the parameter says. The preset, it's what you're trying to make of it, right? So, don't get hung up in what it says. So you have a dynamic section. Of course, you got your input, and this is kind of a standard format and flow to most of the Abbey Road's type of plugins. Is they have a certain type of flow to them, and you can come up here and you can choose the different routings, however you want to do it, and they keep everything old school, which is this big toggle switch that you can switch back and forth to it. And you have your EQ, and then of course you have your final output section. Now here you can add noise or lower noise. You can actually spread your signal towards the end if you want. The world's your oyster. But what I like about old analog type of plugins is that it doesn't give you a lot of things to play with, right? So if I want to turn this, then I got to go there, or there. You know what I mean? Everything is pretty much finite. You go to where you are, and that's it. Here, I can go in between if I want, but I can also just jump to where I want it to go to. If I want to keep it strictly as an analog type of board where you didn't have the veneer type of controls to it. It was all just hard. Just go straight to the hard stop. So this is another one. Get a great sound out of that. I'll probably do a mixing video to show what some of these things sound like. One thing I would suggest also, if you're going to use the Abbey Road's plugins, take your MIDI and bounce it down to audio. When you bounce it down to audio, now you only have to worry about the plugins that you're adding to the audio, not the plugins as effects, as well as the VST plugin the virtual instrument that you're using. So that's going to save you some CPU in the long run, and you can get a little bit more longevity out of whatever effects you're trying to put on it. So just a little quick tip there. All right, and then one of my favorites, this is quickly became one of my favorites, is this TG mastering chain. This plugin, one thing I have to say about Waves is they really love giving you a lot of presets to play with, and it's by well-known people who are using the plugin, you know, which is great. I can't say that every company out there is doing that same type of thing, right? Like, these are, you know, real no shit people that are in the industry mixing and mastering and using the plugin. And you can go to some of their channels and actually watch them use it if you like, as well as the, you know, the Waves tutorials that they add in with all their products. So but I love that I can go in and get some type of sound really without having to do any tweaking. But you can, of course, you know, and it's been a couple times I've made something that was just kind of way out and crazy, and I just started on default and just started turning knobs to see what they do. One of the great things that I love about this plugin is that even though I have these things separated this way, I can blow them up and actually get a little bit more finer detail with it. I can go bounce back and forth to each module and do it that way rather than trying to go straight this way, you know, trying to do it all on one page. But I have that option. And anybody who knows me or have looked at my videos, simplicity is everything for me. Give me everything that I need on one page. If I want to go into deeper depth, then fine, that's cool. But, you know, I want to be able to see everything at a full glance, look at everything globally, and then, you know, go from there. But that's always been my hang up. So that was just a little tidbit of information about some of the Abbey Road plugins that Waves offers. Waves is not paying me for anything. They're not sponsoring me. I bought all of my plugins. This is just my personal opinion. And, you know, I basically just took a chance and bought some of the plugins to see what they were like. Heard a lot about Abbey Road from back in the day. A lot of older, old school hip hop producers swear by it. You know, so I was like, hey, this is going to be the closest I ever come to one of the Abbey Road's consoles. So, you know, I'll give it a shot. And I was pleasantly surprised. The cost of the plugins weren't steep. They were very reasonable, and Waves is always running sales. So I highly advise you guys to go in, check them out. You know, from time to time, they're always running sales, you know, $20-$30, man. You know, what can it hurt? But anyway, hopefully somebody got something out of this. That's my time. Be sure to like and subscribe, hit the notifications button so you stay up to date on all my latest content, and most of all, stay queued up. Peace.